And as nature does, we're, going with the flow and where the energy wants to move. It definitely, I get the sense that the energy in the group has kind of moved into the celebratory kind of phase, the wrapping up kind of phase. One thing I did want to cover, though, which I think is important, is talking more specifically about the role of nature in healing, and particularly how we can use what we've been practicing during these few days in the context of healing. So as many of you will have noticed, when you do go out and you have this space and stillness in nature, things are going to start to move in you. And even when you're not like trying to do a particular practice, or, you're not putting in the hard yards to try to, do this personal development work stuff, it all just kind of happens naturally. And the way I've really come to think about it, and Qigong has really helped me in understanding this, is that, any of these things that we need healing for all become blockages to deeper levels of connection. And in the context of energy, and this is why Qigong's been such an important teacher, they all become blockages that are sitting within our system that are preventing this free flow of energy exchange between us and the world around us. So when we're out in nature and we're immersed in the dynamic, alive, harmonious energy of wild nature, it's kind of like, I think I said that in a video of, well, I used it specifically in the context of Qigong then, but yeah, when you have things blocking a pipe or a hose and you put some water pressure through it and it bursts it out the other side, there's a bit of that effect. And I also think it comes down to attunement. So when we're just spending time in nature and we're just being relaxed and, just enjoying ourselves, the energy of nature can kind of start to merge with our energy. And it's like anything that's not wanting to vibrate on that same frequency is going to start to lift and shift out of our energy body. And that can happen at surprising times, especially things that we haven't been giving ourselves space to process. Those kind of things can come up quite quickly, even when it's not at all what you're thinking about or what you're expecting from your time in nature. And all that is a very healing process. I always trust that if something is showing up, then it is because it's the right time. It's because it's ready to move. That's why these things do start to move. And the experience is, well, for me, I guess I've come to learn to trust it, but that nature provides the safe space to be able to move that through us. And I'm not sure, the familiarity for many people in the room around the process of healing. I've heard it alluded to in your sharings, but healing isn't something that, we can think a problem away. I've definitely learned that, the thinking and making sense of things is not even necessary at all to be able to move something. So these things that need healing really become part of our energy body because we weren't ready to fully feel them at the time that, something that was really difficult for us occurred. And so they've become lodged in our energy body. So we've frozen them so we can't feel them. So it's only natural that the process of healing requires them to move, to be expressed, and that we do feel it at the time that it's coming out, which sounds like bad news, but I've definitely learned that it's pretty amazing how quickly something really can be released, especially when we're not trying to grip onto it. And that's why sometimes, things take months, years, even for us to be ready to move through something, because we're at a different stage of maturity, a different stage of our life, and we've got different resources around us for us to be able to deal with that. And then, of course, also when we're out in nature, that enables us to have these, the external support that can help us move through something. So, yeah, I wanted to make sure that we covered this topic because, like you have probably discovered, it's something that is reasonably inevitable. And it's interesting, running programs like this where sometimes there can be like pressure from, the client organizations that I might be working with, that, we're focusing on this sort of work related, what's good for, needing to develop the people to the extent that it's, beneficial to their work. What can we learn? And this sort of thing, like we can't just keep it at the cognitive level. And obviously that's not what we've been trying to do during this program, but also we can't pretend that even if the goal isn't to do sort of deep personal work, we also can't pretend that that's not going to happen. So yeah, I wanted to make sure that at least this part was included in the program. If you've been wondering or curious about, why these things have been bubbling up. I also wanted to share this understanding of it that I've come to as a way for you to make sense of how you can work with nature as you continue on your journey. Because I think really the journey is always about coming to greater and greater levels of wholeness, which is really what healing is. And that wholeness is about our relationship with the planet and the relationship with Earth. And the wholeness and healing is also about our relationship with ourselves as things become more and more integrated, like we're doing in a very embodied sense in Qigong. That is the literal process of healing. Well, I feel like I've done enough of a monologue on that topic. But also, to share that we've got tools. So as you continue spending time in nature, you've already got some tools to be able to speed up that process. Number one being don't resist, as we've sort of covered a little bit. The real trick is about acceptance, and it can really be incredible. Like we're not accepting the suffering that comes with, embracing the emotion that we need to go through, although that's part of it. The real trick is accepting this part of ourselves that's doing this feeling so that it can be integrated and liberated. And it's like a energetic transmutation process. So as these things come up, you can use we've been talking about relaxation. And so that is one way to relax that contraction that's associated with whatever's coming up. So practicing your relaxation, even practicing your Qigong, like helping things move out of the body. The biggest tip I can give you for that is to try to get a really good feel of where whatever it is sitting in your body. So sometimes the things that need healing can feel quite physical, even if it has an emotional, psychological component. And then, of course, there can be things which might seem more purely emotional, but if we really tune in and get it in touch more deeply with our inner nature, we can feel that we might be able to identify that this thing sitting in our being has got some sort of form or texture. We might even get an image associated with it. So try to get as much of a grip using all your fields of experience on what is there sitting inside of you, and embrace that. You can even think of embracing it like you would a child. Try to get your heart essence touching the true essence of whatever it is that is still sitting inside your being. And so we can use meditation, which is a very brief practice that I'd like to use, or not use, to share with you right now. We'll just be about 5 minutes and we'll all do it together. So if you can find yourself a comfortable seat, whoever you'd like to meditate in. Great. And it's very simply going to be a heart-centered meditation. So it's going to seem very simple, but it's actually turned into one of my favorite. It's like a meditation that I'll do to end a day. It really just brings me back home to myself. And yeah, it's very enjoyable. And because it's not necessarily something that you need to do in nature, it sort of gives a different kind of tool to the kit that we're sharing here. So when you're nice and comfortable, you can close your eyes and just place your hands over your heart center. To transition into the meditation, just turn your attention inwards to your breath, noticing it flowing smooth and evenly in and out. And relaxing any areas in your body that might be holding a bit of tension, paying particular attention to the shoulders, the jaw, around the eyes, around the mouth. And paying attention to your diaphragm and your belly to enable that breath to be smooth and even. And from there, take your awareness up to the center of your forehead at your third eye. And just imagine your awareness just sitting there at the center of your forehead. And then we're going to take the little elevator down very slowly from the top of our head. It's going to move down to the throat, just moving our awareness down, all the way down to the bottom of the throat, into the center of our chest, moving until the elevator reaches the center of our heart. Try to really enable the center of your awareness to be emanating from the center of your heart. Feel deeply into the heart space, feeling its density, its pressure, its temperature. And feeling the contact points with your hands over your heart. And feeling that exchange of energy between your heart and your hands. So allowing your awareness to rest on this flow of energy, sitting beneath your hands, not trying to do anything, just letting your awareness rest in your heart. Feeling like you're just holding an infant, gently cradling your heart space. Reflecting the joy and love and compassion that you might have found in nature. Just reflecting that back to yourself. You might find that some emotions start to move. And if that's the case, that's totally fine. Just stay with it, gently cradling your heart. And you may find that positive emotions are generated as well. You might find a feeling of joy building as you reflect this heart energy back to yourself. You might lift the corners of your mouth into a little smile as you practice. Feeling yourself building, growing, generating the positive heart energy of love, joy, compassion, gratitude. It might grow to the point that you can't even contain it under your hands anymore, and it starts to burst out through the gaps in your fingers. Filling the room with love and joy and spilling out into the nature around you. It's continuing to keep your awareness in your heart center as you do this. And then keeping your eyes closed, you can lower your hands to your lap. Just take a few moments to feel the radiance of the heart energy filling you and radiating out around you. Giving gratitude for life. So noticing how you feel. And gently opening your eyes. So I find that action of just keeping the awareness at the heart center and gently holding the heart as so simple and yet so effective, whether it's, helping shift a stuck emotion that's coming up, but also to be that, like we were doing at the end there, that generator of the positive emotions. So if you experienced either of those during that time, you'll probably have got a little taste of how powerful that can be. And it's something that's just so simple and you can do it anywhere, at any time, which is good. I did put in your workbook for today a little bit of info on the vagus nerve and heart rate variability, which is sort of like the sciencey bit behind why we do this kind of thing, which there's a lot of research going into heart rate variability now and the vagus nerve. And it's strongly associated with our well-being, but it also is associated in a direct cause of our feelings of connection. So when we've got good tone in the vagus nerve and heart rate variability is basically just how responsive is our heart to the rhythm of our breath. And it's a massive correlator, yeah, like I said, of well-being. But when we've got good heart rate variability, we're more easily able to connect with other people around us. And my theory is that it's also about how easily we feel that connection with nature, though so far I haven't found any research on that, but maybe I'll hit up the people who've been doing that kind of research and see if we can do something in nature to prove it. But one of the things that is shown to improve heart rate variability is that heart-centered meditation. So having your awareness at the heart center, but then focusing on cultivating those positive emotions. So another little variation that you could do there is, even if you're not necessarily feeling joy or love or compassion or gratitude at that particular moment in time, but you can actually encourage yourself to begin feeling it and focus more and more and more on it, generate it more and more and more, and that is going to improve heart rate variability, tone your vagus nerve, be good for your physical health, be good for your mental health, and also make it easier for you to connect with humans and nature. So there's my little sciencey component for you for the program. Cool. Oh, well, it's pretty simple. There's not necessarily too much to talk about there, but hopefully you got the sense that, yeah, it's lovely.